to Robinson. Robinson! Oh, Robinson! Fixing the wall. It's Guevara. It's in! Oh, he's done it again! It's Amor for Amaro! Marvell Wynn comes inside. Still Marvell Wynn shoots! Scores! Marvell Wynn! Marvellous goal!
My name's Chaz Wood. I'm chairman of the smallest football league in the world. Any additional coaching can only be beneficial.
Aim for the keeper.
This would certainly improve their game.
Anderson can go in the middle because he's late.
Come back when I've got one today.
Hopefully some of them can go on and make it into professional football.
What's some of the most expensive water you can buy in the grocery store? This is. This detergent has very little cleaning ingredients. The rest is water. But with Tide, you get much more cleaning ingredients. More than twice as much. Tide. You pay for detergent, you get more detergent. That's why there's no clean like Tide Clean. New beef-flavored pedigree Dentistix. Could there be an easier way to help clean between teeth? I'm thinking no. Clinically proven pedigree Dentistix.
You probably know that split ends are caused by damage. But did you know that Dove can repair it? Dove Intense Damage Therapy is different because it contains a unique repairing serum. It repairs accumulated damage by penetrating into each hair strand. Make your hair pass the split ends test every morning. Try the precious repairing serum in the Dove Intense Damage Therapy System. Goodbye damage. Good morning, beautiful hair.
This year's Humanitarian of the Year was Todd Donovan. Even though his season was cut short by a serious ankle injury, Todd continued to go above and beyond, participating in numerous coaching clinics, promotional and charity events for the club. The Defender of the Year was Marvell Wynn. Wynn scored his very first MLS goal this season. Known for his pace, Wynn also developed a reputation for showing respect for his fellow players with just one caution and 17 fouls. The Golden Boot Award goes to Chad Barrett. Barrett joined Toronto from Chicago in July. A proven goal scorer with the Fire, Barrett arrived with 5 goals with his former club and finished with 9, tying him for 8th in the league. And Carl Robinson was this year's most valuable player. The Welsh midfielder started in 27 games, missing just 3 to international duty. His leadership shone not only on the field but also in the locker room, where he continued to be a positive role model and mentor to the younger players.
Well, I know a lot of people would have loved to have seen head coach John Carver win an award this season. He's been a hit with the fans, with the media, with the players for his tell it like it is style. Now, we've had a chance all season long to ask him lots of questions, so we decided to give you a chance. You wrote into CBCSports.ca with your questions, and we took those questions down to BMO Field earlier in the week. Well, John, our online readers have plenty of questions for you, so let's get to it. Hal from Toronto says, what's been your biggest challenge in acclimatizing to coaching in the MLS?
To be quite honest, it hasn't just been about the coaching side of it. It's been about learning the rules and regulations. They've been very difficult, but that's been one of the biggest challenges. With regard to the coaching, nothing surprised me because there's some very good coaches in the league, some very good sides. The standard, I must admit, is better than I thought. So it's been a lot tougher to fit my wits against some of the better sides, and but it's been enjoyable.
Okay, the next one, we had a lot of questions like this one from Ray Dean. What do you think can be done to improve the officiating in the MLS? And I know you've spent a lot of time thinking about this one.
I mean, I think a couple of things you could do is maybe, first of all, try and get a group of the best referees in the country and try and develop them, try and invest money in them. By, for example, what we used to do back home is referees used to go into the clubs on a regular basis and join in with the training sessions. So when we played any small-sided games, they got used to the professional environment, got used to players and how they have a different mindset, and that proved to be a huge success in England.
Brian has this question. I still find it difficult to believe that the league forced Toronto to play with 9 players unavailable due to international calls. And he wants to know what is going to be done to avoid this from happening next season.
Well, it's amazing because at the time we had 3 or 4 guys who weren't internationals, and we've actually been penalised for developing these players. So, for example, Julius James wasn't a full international when he came through the door. Now he is. Kevin Holmes wasn't a regular in the Canadian team. Now he is. We knew the situation before we went into it. We knew we had 5 or 6 internationals that were going to play that we were going to miss. But we now, when we're looking at our recruitment, have to be careful and make sure that we have a mix there where we're bringing in players who are not necessarily international.
There was a lot of interest in this final question. Larry from Cambridge says, it's been rumored that your old friend Alan Shearer may become the manager of Newcastle United, and that if he does get that job, he'll want you to come along with him. Well, what's your response?
I think you've already mentioned a slam dunk. I think Alan's definitely going to take the job at some stage of his career. Whether it's now or in the future, I don't know. But I do have a good relationship with Alan, but I do know that I've got a job to do here. And especially after the response I got after the Chicago game, last home game of the season. My heart's here and I love it here, and it would have to be something extreme to drag me away from it.
Well, I know the fans want to see you back. Thanks for this.
I look forward to it. Thanks.
Well, Jim, describe the kind of coach John is, and what would it mean to the club if they lost him?
I think the players would be devastated because John Carver he's a player's manager. He's been working hard this season to get things right, and I think if he leaves, I think he'll have unfinished business here. So, I mean, ideally for the players, we don't want him to go anywhere.
I know a lot of people don't. You're right. The fans certainly included in that group. Well, for those that are joining us from the Raptors basketball game, there was a stunning announcement out of Major League Soccer, which took place earlier this weekend. The league commissioner announced that Montreal was no longer in the running for an expansion franchise in 2011. And here's what he had to say at a press conference on Friday night.
An important announcement here. Montreal has dropped out of the race. So Montreal has not been able to finalize their applications, so our 7 applications are down to 6.
And Jason, you had a chance to speak with Montreal president Joey Saputo. What did he tell you?
Well, I spoke with Joey at length yesterday, had a very good conversation. He obviously needs time to sit down with the Gillette family and discuss their next move. They've called a press conference for tomorrow. I'm sure we'll learn a lot more details then. But what he did say was that Montreal categorically did not withdraw their bid. They had submitted their bid on the deadline of October 15th, and they did not change that bid, didn't feel the need to change that bid right up until that announcement was made by Don Garber. They still have yet to learn from the league exactly what requirements they failed to meet. So I'm sure they'll be looking to get more information. Hopefully they can fill us in a little bit more in the press conference tomorrow. And Jim, I know you were saying earlier this has been a topic of conversation the last couple of days for the players with Toronto.
Yeah, no, it's a shame that they've pulled out, or, well, we've yet to find out exactly what's happened. Because I think we need that rivalry. In Toronto and Montreal, we know what it's like with all the sports. And around the league, all the players, everybody knew that Montreal was pretty much going to be the team that was going to get it. And now that they're not in the running anymore, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed, especially the Toronto players and fans.
Well, the league is going to make an announcement as to who will get those 2 franchises probably prior to the start of the 2009 season. When we come back, we're going to continue our look ahead to today's big game, and we're also going to look back at the season that was. We'll be back in just a moment.
the original Bacardi Mojito, made to mix.
You probably know that split ends are caused by damage. But did you know that Dove can repair it? Dove Intense Damage Therapy is different because it contains a unique repairing serum. It repairs accumulated damage by penetrating into each hair strand. Make your hair pass the split ends test every morning. Try the precious repairing serum in the Dove Intense Damage Therapy System. Goodbye damage. Good morning, beautiful hair.
Today on CBC Sports, we are pleased to bring you arguably the biggest game in North American soccer, the MLS Cup between New York and Columbus. Kickoff in about 20 minutes time, and we will have it for you live right here on CBC Sports. Well, no big surprise to see that Columbus made it through to the final. After all, they were the top team in the league during the regular season. Certainly the clear-cut favorites in this match today. And here with more on Columbus is Mitch Peacock.
The Columbus Crew setting the stage for something special in these MLS Cup playoffs by having an outstanding regular season. The Crew losing just 7 of 30 matches on their way to the highest point total in the league, and carrying that good form on with impressive wins over Kansas City and Chicago.
We never give up. We always feel like we're in a game even when we go down. I think we showed that a number of times this year that we can come back and battle and get a tie or, even get the victory. So we're never out of game. We're capable of scoring goals at any time, so I think it's a major strength of ours.
Guillermo Barros Schelotto central to all that's good for the Crew. The Argentine leading Major League Soccer in assists in the regular season and seemingly lifting his level of play in the big games. But Columbus is a force to be reckoned with because they're a difficult team to play against as a group.
We've done a lot of good things. We've been organized defensively. The times that we haven't played well offensively, the defense has come up and done some good things for us, and vice versa. So this season has been a very consistent season for us. We've been able to obviously get results when we needed them, and again, we just hope that on Sunday we can do the same thing.
Coach of the Year Ziggy Schmid rebuilding the Crew in 3 seasons at the helm. Now the former LA Galaxy boss would like nothing more than to see his side finish it off with an MLS Cup at the home of the team that let him go.
Jim, Toronto started its season against Columbus. What makes them so dangerous?
With Columbus, they're well organized. And all over the pitch, they've got quality players. Schelotto in the middle there, he's so dangerous on that ball, and he's very hard to defend. And they also got Robbie Rogers on the wing, loves to get forward, puts great balls into the box. So they're an organized team, and I think New York's going to have a lot of trouble with them today.
Well, the Crew is seen as, in many ways, a model franchise. Why is that?
Well, they have the first soccer-specific stadium that was built in MLS for the league, which is a big plus. Obviously TFC now coming into the league are seen as the model for any expansion teams coming in. And Columbus has grown in stature from strength to strength. They now have a strong team, as Jim mentioned, all over the park. They have strength and depth, very well organized, very hard to break down, and rightly so. League champions this season, looking to make it a double and win the Cup final as well.
And they have a bucket full of great players. One is the league MVP this season.
No question about the man on whose shoulders much is expected. Veteran Argentinian Guillermo Barros Schelotto. 7 goals but 19 assists in the regular season. He is the heartbeat of the team. He takes the free kicks, the corners, he orchestrates the team and drives them forward. Doesn't score all the goals, but sets up most of them.
And also on this team, the defender of the year, Chad Marshall.
Well, I think every successful team has to have a leader at the back, and someone like Chad Marshall is invaluable. Big, strong, aggressive, solid in the air, strong in the tackle. He also chips in with a few goals every now and again. He's a threat from set pieces. He scores goals himself. He's a problem, and New York's going to have to handle him in the air, certainly in their own box today.
And one of the things that this team, or these teams, have in common is the fact that, unlike a few other teams around the league, they haven't played much outside of their league games, meaning there wasn't any Champions League play or other things to interfere with the task at hand to make it through to this final.
Well, it's a fair point. I mean, you've got fresher legs. That's what you've got at this stage of the season. They've played basically the regular season. And Jim, you know yourself, if you're playing a Canadian Championship games, other games, I mean, obviously that's going to take its toll.
Yeah, if you look at the other teams, such as New England, Houston, all those teams seem to die towards the end. And obviously with Columbus and New York, they've pulled through and made it to the finals this year. So you can tell they've got fresh legs. They've worked hard, and they've obviously the coaches have looked after the players so that they're going to be fresh for this game coming up.
Internationals is another one as well. Columbus don't have that many international players that have been called up throughout the season. TFC, obviously, we know all about their problems that they've had with international call-ups. Other teams have been affected by that. Columbus have been relatively quiet in that regard and didn't have the CONCACAF Champions League to deal with, so they've been able to focus entirely on the league games.
It certainly makes a difference. Well, still to come on our MLS Cup preview show, a look ahead to the club who will be representing the West, the underdog, New York Red Bulls. Their stories next.
Worry doll. Take away all worries.
Really? Do you have bigger ones?
Now, these are lovely. It's just that we have big worries.
Grande worries.
No.
Investments.
No, investmentitos?
No. Market fluctuations.
Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down like that.
How do you stop worrying about your investments? Protect them. BMO Life Stage Plus funds protect your initial investments and growth.
They call and check on you and everything.
He called me and woke me up. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Kelly. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Follow me, everyone. Check this out. New 2X Ultra Tide is 2 times concentrated, with twice the stain-fighting power in every drop. It removes way more stains better than the other guy. So it's not just clean, it's ultra clean. Next, let's clean the napkins.
Yasser buys a house for Rayanne.
It's a fixer-upper.
It's a terror downer.
Oh my God.
The View could be a deal breaker.
Wow.
An all-new Little Mosque on the Prairie, Wednesday at 8 on CBC. Tuesday.
There are some at court who would like to see the Queen replaced.
Henry's crimes against us are too profound to forgive. So I ask you, will you invade England?
The Tudors, Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
Rodeo Drive, just a 20-minute ride from the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. The weather looks like it will be ideal for today's championship match between the Columbus Crew and the New York Red Bulls. Well, whatever could go wrong did go wrong for the New York Red Bulls this season. First, their promising young star left the team. Then their captain retired, and then 2 of their players were banned for illegal drug use, and that's just the start of the list. But somehow they managed to right the ship, get into the playoffs, and now find themselves in the Cup final. Here with their story, Mitch Peacock.
The New York Red Bulls giving new meaning to the term postseason. Red Bulls calling on keeper Danny Sapero's best friends 3 times en route to edging Real Salt Lake for the Western Conference title and a berth in MLS Cup 2008. But while the woodwork played a part, it's been teamwork and timely scoring taking New York to its first ever league final.
The prize at the end of the season is awarded to the team that does the best in the playoffs, and you know, we seem to be a playoff team, so fortunately for us.
New York bouncing the 2-time defending MLS Cup champions from Houston just to earn their place in the Western Conference final. Speedy Dane Richards scoring 1, setting up another in the second leg of the conference semis. Now the challenge is for New York to rise to the occasion one more time.
We know that we're not the favorites. Columbus has been the best team this year without a doubt. But we came here to LA just to try to give our best, and hopefully by 3 o'clock on Sunday we'll know better.
Needing help on the final day of the regular season just to make the playoffs, now New York is hoping to follow LA's lead of 3 years ago, turning that last ticket to the big dance into a cup title and a place in history.
We'll start with Jim. And Jim, this is a club that you beat 3-1 just last month. It didn't look like a team that would be playing in the MLS Cup final.
No, they didn't. We were well organized. We knew what we had to do to beat them on that game, and we put pressure on them all over the pitch, and we frustrated them. And we also knew that their defenders were going to be pushing up high, and we could turn them at times. And as Chad Barrett, he got his goal when he went in behind the back and chipped the goalkeeper. So we knew what we had to do. We had things right. We had a game plan. We followed it, frustrated them, like I said, all over the pitch, and we came away with 3-1.
Don't you wish you would have got those extra 4 or 5 points at the end of the season?
That would have been nice, yeah.
Well, you know, as I mentioned, this is a team that suffered 2 key suspensions just on the eve of the playoffs. And how do you recover from something like that?
Well, it's such a difficult thing to do, and one player who has stepped up, you know, John Conway and Jeff Park were the 2 players that were suspended because of drug use, and that really threw into question their goalkeeper situation. And the player that's, you know, had to step to the fore now is Danny Sapero, one of the key players definitely in today's game. He is someone who has come into the league, made his debut, and he has something that most goalkeepers don't get throughout their whole career, which is a goal. Scored a goal in one of his I believe it was his debut, I believe. He scored against, ironically, the Columbus Crew. That was an incredible moment for him and a dream start to his career. One thing that you do have to remember, though, I think, is that, you know, when a young player comes in like that, they ride that, you know, wave of adrenaline for the first few games, but they always eventually come down and have a little bit of a dodgy period where they start to struggle a little bit, catches up to them. We just got to hope from New York's perspective that that doesn't happen today, and he has another good game for them in goal.
Well, one end of the pitch to the other, and their wonderful striker, Juan Pablo Angel, who suffered a bit of a collision in practice yesterday, shaken up a bit, but apparently we are told he will start.
He's absolutely desperate to play. He got a bit of an ankle injury. He's hurt his ribs as well this week, but he said there's absolutely no way I'm going to miss this game. And with 33 goals in 47 appearances in the regular season over 2 years, he is a genuine designated player. He is, without a question, head and shoulders the main threat as far as Columbus are concerned.
And the other key player, as you mentioned, Jason, Danny Sapero, one of the great human interest stories of the year, certainly in Major League Soccer.
You know, and this is where I was saying before, where senior players have to step to the fore. Someone like Juan Pablo Angel is going to have to put his shoulder around Sapero and say, you know what, you're playing the biggest game of your life now. Don't let it get to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep playing well. Be confident in yourself. You've done great to get where you are right now. We only need one more big performance out of you, and we could possibly lift the cup.
Oh, quickly, I'm going to put you on the spot. Your picks for a winner today in this MLS Cup.
Well, New York have no chance, which is why I am picking New York to win this, because you just never know in a cup final.
You just cursed them.
I'll have to go with Columbus. They've been the better team over the course of the regular season. They have a better squad of players, and I think that they're going to win the game today.
Jimmy?
I'm going with Columbus as well. I think they just have too much firepower, and they're going to come away with a win today.
I think I have to say Columbus as well, only because Nigel picked New York. When we return, we're going to join Mitch Peacock, who's standing by with a Canadian international who very nearly was playing in today's game.
He lifted up his arms. I had never seen anything like it. And here. I'll never forget the day I met him.
But everyone sweats a bit. It's normal.
I didn't think much of him. In fact, I couldn't stand being around him. And then he found the answer. Now, I really like him.
Axe Dry. It's more than a deodorant. It's an antiperspirant.
Since the beginning of time, the gods of Olympus loved to party. And to make the party special, they had a divine secret. Then, one day, it slipped from the heavens to be discovered by man.
Is this for real?
Ferrero Rocher. Could there be a more divine creation?
You folks okay?
Not really.
No.
We don't know whether to top up our RSPs or pay down our mortgage.
Or if our investments are working hard enough for us.
I know what you mean. Short term, long term. See you around.
How do you get money off your mind? By making sense of it. BMO Bank of Montreal, making money make sense.
She looks gorgeous.
More fashion. These pants are on sale for $12. More food.
Your family's gonna think you are a pastry chef.
More fabulous. Stephen and Chris, weekdays at 2 on CBC.
I don't like what I've become.
We have so much to talk about.
That's my job in life. Do favors for women. The Hour with George Stroumboulopoulos.
I haven't totally self-destructed yet.
Weeknights at 11 on CBC television.
The Home Depot Center is home to the LA Galaxy, but today it will be the Columbus Crew battling the New York Red Bulls in the MLS Cup. Kickoff now about 8 minutes away. First, though, let's check in with Mitch Peacock, who's with Canadian international Dwayne de Rosario.
Thanks very much, Brenda. Yes, Dwayne joins us, a four-time MLS Cup champion, a two-time MVP of this final game, and a member of the Houston Dynamo, the team that won the last 2 MLS Cups, but that run came to an end thanks to these New York Red Bulls. Everybody's calling them the underdogs. What did you see from this team in the playoffs?
Well, a very hungry team. You know, a team that was out to make a statement, and I think they've completed that successfully. Now they're in the finals. You know, they had a lot of luck on their side, but also in saying that, you know, they have got big game changers. Guys like Juan Pablo Angel and Vandenberg. I think they've had a great season, and, you know, they could always come up in big moments.
You were a team that was very competitive with the Columbus Crew in the regular season, splitting the season series. They went on to win the Supporters' Shield. You guys were best in the West in the regular season. What about this Columbus team? They have a lot of weapons and a lot of depth.
Yeah, well, Columbus is a great story. I mean, what a change around from a team from last year, you know, to have a great season, you know, to be successful on top of the season pretty much from start to finish, you know, just shows the depth of this team and, you know, what they're capable of. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, to see them on top tonight.
You know, Dwayne, coming into this game, there's been a lot of talk about the David-Goliath aspect of this matchup. The Supporters' Shield winners, the best team in the regular season, the wild card, second wild card, 8th-seeded team coming into this playoff, getting together in this game, and a lot of people talking about it being lopsided. As a player, as someone who's been in these games before, is there such thing as an easy final?
Oh, no way. It's 90 minutes, as you saw when we played New York, you know. It's anyone's game, and, you know, every opportunity it could be the golden one, and you know, you have to be plugged in for 90 minutes, and you know, of course, bounces have to go your way, but players have to be at the right place at the right time. So I'm anticipating a exciting final.
Juan Pablo Angel, as was talked about earlier on in the broadcast, getting a knock in training, having a problem with the ribs, favoring a left arm. He had an ankle problem earlier in the week. Asked him yesterday about how he would feel about a fitness test before this game, and he said, absolutely no way, I'm playing no matter what. Can you relate to that?
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, Angel, he's a true professional. I think what he's brought to this league is unbelievable, and you know, I'm grateful for him coming to this league and really elevated this league and the standard, and you can see what he's brought to New York. And you know, regardless of a knock in the ribs or whatever it takes, you know, he's a guy that loves the game, plays with a lot of passion, and you'll definitely see that tonight.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Mitch. When we return, the opening kickoff between the Columbus Crew and the New York Red Bulls.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I'm a football coach. Where I feel people need me, I'm there. I think they need to meet big players. I think they need to feel big atmosphere. And hopefully no one upstairs pointing at you and say you will be also great players.
There's something fresh in the air. Febreze candles burn slowly for up to 30 hours, infusing the air with scents that are simply irresistible. So irresistible, you just can't keep them to yourself. Febreze candles in 7 fresh scents. It's a breath of fresh air.
Lotto Quebec Celebration. The generous lottery that's been a perfect gift for your loved ones and yourself for 20 years now. This year you could win 30 Fords, 31 Mercedes-Benz, 40 trips, and lots of cash, including a grand prize of $5 million. A total of over $28 million in prizes. Go on, celebrate.
months, more than 200 matches. Now it's down to one final game between two of Major League Soccer's charter franchises. It's David versus Goliath in the MLS Cup Final. The Columbus Crew were the league's best side in 2008, winners of the Supporters' Shield as Major League Soccer's top team. The New York Red Bulls, a club which backed into the playoffs, knocking off two of the league's best to reach the final. Now the favorites from Columbus battle the upstarts from New York for the most coveted prize in all of North American soccer. The opening kickoff between the Columbus Crew and the New York Red Bulls is just moments away. Now with the call of today's match, let's join Nigel Reed and Jason DeVos.
Thank you, Brenda. A very good afternoon. It is the 13th playing of the MLS Cup, and for one of these teams, it will be an unlucky number. 4-4-2, Columbus Crew, Scalotto and Moreno, the danger men up front, although Scalotto will probably play in a withdrawn attacking role. Chad Marshall, number 14, is the MVP as far as defenders are concerned this season. The expected lineup for the New York Red Bulls: Dane Richards, number 19, supplies plenty, as does Dave Vandenberg. But of course, the man they'll all be aiming for is number 9, Juan Pablo Angel. And what a day for the goalkeeper. Only his 6th appearance for Danny Shapiro. The weather, well, what would you expect? It's Southern California. It is a beautiful day. And cool enough for the players to give it their all over the next 90 minutes. And who knows, perhaps then some. Our referee is Baldomero Toledo, born in Mexico. Came to the United States at the age of 17. Officiated in 21 Major League Soccer games in the regular season and issued 10 red cards, more than any other referee.
It's a remarkable statistic, to say the least, and you have to hope that that's not going to be a factor today. You want to see both these teams finish the game with 11 players on the field so that they can definitely compete and battle this out evenly, so that one team can be chosen as the winner over the other on a fair basis.
Toronto FC fans may remember Mr. Toledo from a game back in August against Dallas, in which he reduced the Canadian team to 9 players. But as Jason says, it is 11 v 11, and I'm sure that's the way the referee and his assistants would like it to end. The rules are simple. It's 90 minutes. If the scores are tied, we will have 30 minutes of extra time. If it is still tied, we will have a penalty shootout to decide the winners of the 2008 MLS Cup, which is underway with New York in those white shirts, attacking the goal to your left in this first half. Columbus Crew, all in yellow, and in just about everybody's books, the hot favourites to take the honours. Home Depot Centre just about full to capacity. And one just wonders which way the fickle hand of fate will fall today. Columbus head and shoulders above the Red Bulls in the regular season. Came from behind Columbus in their championship game to beat Chicago, and it may be significant, the fact that they came behind in that game, because it's something they've made a habit of this season. As for New York, as we said in our preamble, nobody thought they would be here, but here they are, having beaten Houston and Salt Lake en route. I think a lot of people thought that as far as a Zenith performance was concerned, that game in Houston was as good as it gets for New York. Can they repeat that today?
Well, that's the thing. They're going to have to pick themselves up because they didn't play especially well in the conference final against Real Salt Lake. They were outplayed, outshot, as we said earlier in the show, but they managed to squeak through in a 1-0 game. But they're going to have to pick it up and be at their best today against Columbus, who were head and shoulders above everyone else over the course of the regular season.
So what about those keys to the game as far as the finalists are concerned?
Well, the Columbus Crew need an MVP display from their most valuable player, Guillermo Scalotto. He's been head and shoulders above everyone else in the league. 7 goals, 19 assists this season. They need him to be at his best, and they need to give no room to this man, Juan Pablo Angel. They can't let him get in behind the back line and cause problems because he's a deadly finisher.
As far as New York are concerned, as Angel is caught offside, let's consider the Red Bulls' keys to the game.
Well, the New York Red Bulls are certainly in for a tough game today against Columbus. And oh, Danny boy, in goal, Danny Sapero, his 6th game, as you said, Nigel, rookie coming in. He's got to have another big performance for them if they're going to win this game. And they need to shut down Scalotto. They need to stop the MVP from playing, stop him getting on the ball and dictating the pace of the game for Columbus. If they can do that, it'll go a long way towards winning the game for them today.
Robbie Rogers has been such an influential figure. Everybody talks about Scalotto, but the young Robbie Rogers operating on the left side of midfield for Columbus, and he'd be equally a threat. And Rogers certainly felt that challenge. And an instant yellow card. Shown to Chris Leach.
Deservedly so as well. It's a poor challenge. He rashly comes in. Rogers just sees him over his shoulder, pokes the ball past him. Leach comes in and deservedly gets the yellow card.
A wince from Rogers, but no lasting harm done. Mr. Toledo is known to be a disciplinarian as a referee, but I don't think anybody could complain about that.
No, you can't argue. It's a poor challenge by Leach. And he's going to have to be careful because Robbie Rogers is a dangerous player for them.
Scalotto, first chance to float one in. Offside. That won't count. Rogers put the ball in the net, but I think he knew he was offside. Scalotto, watch out for him, as we've spoken about. Tends to take the free kicks, corners, in and around the penalty area.
His delivery from set pieces is going to be crucial for Columbus today. A large portion of the assists that he's had have been from set pieces. And it's a dangerous tactic that New York employed there, pushing out and trying to play the offside trap from a free kick. All it takes is one defender to not be on the same page with his teammates. He plays everyone off onside again. And Columbus are presented with a great scoring opportunity.
Wolonek trying to burst through. He's the other part of the combination. There he is, John Wolonek. Everybody talking about Angel, but Wolonek scored a couple of goals in the playoffs and has his own part to play in this final. Wolonek with the header down. Here for New York, and behind for a corner. Coach of New York, urging his players forward. As Vandenberg trots over to take this first corner for the Red Bulls. In swing up. Arsenal was safe and sound, and then lost the ball. the benefit of the decision from the referee. He went to throw it, as we'll see here again. And he defines Kevin Goldthwaite, put an elbow in the way.
Will Hesmer's complaining that Goldthwaite should be booked for that. Mr. Toledo is just having a word, trying to calm down the situation a little bit.
Fans of both teams here in good number.
He's had a strong season for them as well in goal. Will Hesmer hasn't got the credit he deserved, really. John Bush winning goalkeeper of the year in the MLS, but Hesmer's played a big part in the strength of defense that Columbus have exhibited throughout the season.
Padula keen to get on with it. And for Scalotto. Mendes was on him. Padula kept it in play. More work to do. Macmol right roll out of play for a goal kick. Scalotto. Not even he could keep that one from crossing the dead ball line.
Good afternoon, I should say. JP and John, a great day, no doubt. Well, Sidney Schmidt, the coach of the year in MLS, does not have a contract.
O'Rourke and Marshall, the central defensive pairing. This is Angel. See how deep he's coming there. Doesn't necessarily play as an out-and-out striker, prepared to come back and work for the team. Vandenberg on this near side. It'll be a New York ball. Side netting. Siggy Schmidt knows all about winning an MLS Cup. Did it at the third time of asking with LA in 2002. This is the first time he's been back to the championship game. And across from one of the... Clearly got a nick on the way through. It is a corner to New York. Taken by Ruby Parapovic. Right-footed in-swinger, and again Hesmer collects. And this time will take his time. Juan Carlos Osorio. Meanwhile has tasted the MLS Cup final for the first time. Let's go downstairs. And Mitch Peacock. Mitch.
Hi, Nigel. I had a chance to talk with former Toronto FC player and New York left back Kevin Goldthwaite about 2 hours before kickoff today. Kevin was saying it would be very important for New York to have a share of the ball in the early going. They wanted to feel the ball in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game and make sure they could not necessarily establish a rhythm, but get comfortable in this game and feel like they were ready to play their game. It looks like they've had a bit of that in this first 10 minutes or so.
Indeed, Mitch, it's been a fairly even opening. Neither goalkeeper tested as yet. And I suppose a little bit of nerves from two first-time finalists, and nobody wants to make the first mistake.
No, you don't want to make a mistake that's going to prove costly to the overall outcome of the game. And further to what Mitch was saying there, I spoke to Jim Brennan earlier, and he was saying that the Home Depot Center is the biggest pitch in the league, whereas the New York Red Bulls are used to playing at Giant Stadium on field turf. It's quite a small, tight pitch. So you just wonder if that might be a factor for them today. They're going to have to adjust to the bigger size of the pitch and also playing on the grass, which certainly seems to favor the Columbus Crew in this matchup.
Frankie Haydock unceremoniously dumped, for which Columbus are awarded a free kick. Only half away. Rogers with a chance to put the ball back in again. Away come the white shirts of New York. But not for long. Ball stayed in. Parakovic with the ball ahead. Looking for Angel. Just 23 years of age, Danny Shapiro. And until barely a month ago had never stepped on a Major League Soccer field. Jason was mentioning pre-game, marked his debut with a goal. First MLS goalie to ever score, and it was against Columbus Crew. Angel. Vandenberg continued the run. Olenek battling with Hesma, who comes up with the ball. The road to South Africa continues. World Cup 2010. And you can get all the details that you might ever need at cbcsports.ca. Back to the present day. 14th minute, first shot. And it was Olenek who got his shot away, was given chance and time to measure the left footer, but couldn't keep it down. And perhaps he should have done better.
It's good play here as we're seeing another replay from the Red Bulls' perspective. The chance that went missing earlier on. Will Hesmer comes out, makes a great save there at the feet of Walniak. And here it is, Dane Richards makes this with a powerful run. A left-footed strike, can't quite find a target. Very interesting, the comments made by Juan Pablo earlier this week about Dane Richards, saying he can be anything he wants to be. He's got pace, he's got skill, he just has to do it on a more consistent basis.
What's the referee going to give here? Nothing very much. And Moreno can't believe it, nor can his coach. Well, they thought there should at least be a free kick, if not a yellow card. But Mr. Toledo turned away.
Well, Moreno does well, and that is a foul. He's very, very unlucky not to get a free kick there.
Jimenez was the player who challenged him.
Moreno's an interesting player for Columbus. He only has 9 goals. He's not what you'd call prolific, but he takes an awful amount of abuse up front. He holds the ball up really well. He links well with Stellato, brings other players into play.
Vandenberg again, proving a danger down that left-hand side. Didn't come. Did the second time, Hesma. Made the decision and was not made to pay.
Dave Vandenberg's had a big impact in the game already. Great little flick on from Angel. And Vandenberg gets the better of Frankie Hayduke. We've seen him put a number of good crosses in the box already. Walniak can't quite get on the end of that one. And in the end, Will Hesmer collects it quite comfortably.
Quarter of an hour gone in the 2008 MLS Cup final. Low score between Columbus in yellow and New York in white. Vandenberg has been given the chance to stretch his legs on a number of occasions.
Surprising because Frankie Hayduke's a very good fullback, very good defender. Surprised he's giving Vandenberg as much room as he is. I'm sure that's something that Sigi Schmidt will want to try and curtail as the half goes on.
Brian Carroll, a huge responsibility on his shoulders to break up the New York's attacks when they come forward. Schelotto looking for a way through. This is Hayder. He's continued his run. And Hayder is no spring chicken, but he's still got a great engine getting up and down the right flank.
He does. 34 years old, U.S. international, has had a fantastic career, been a very, very solid player for the United States and the Columbus Crew as well in recent years. He's going to have a very big game, I think, if he's going to stop the delivery from Vandenberg on the left-hand side.
There he is again. And there was Haydock again.
That's better pressure, though. He's got to get close, he's got to get in tight, because Vandenberg's got a very good left foot. He's capable of delivering pinpoint crosses, and when you've got someone like Juan Pablo Angel lurking in the 18-yard box, that's something you want to try and stop, a supply of quality crosses.
And there it turns. Pell uses Richards on that far side. And Hell's continued the run. We'll get a corner off the deflection. Good pressure from New York in this opening 15-20 minutes.
Well, they're certainly the underdogs, but you'd never know it by looking at the flow of the game so far. They've started the better of the two teams, I think. And as we said earlier in the broadcast, that it's a cup final. It's 90 minutes, and league form goes out the window. It doesn't really matter where you finish in the league. This is a one-off game, and New York know the importance, and they're coming out guns blazing early on.
Vandenberg again delivers from that far side. That's the closest we've come, and it was Goldthwaite who got the final touch. Hearts in mouths for a moment for Columbus.
He's just coming across here, and Goldthwaite doesn't get enough on it. It just glances off his head. He doesn't get a solid connection on it, but it's a good ball into a dangerous area. We talk about the delivery from Vandenberg. It's a great ball in. Hesmer can't come off his line because it's too far for him to come.
Who survived for the moment. Juan Carlos Osorio, realizing that his team has made the stronger start in this final. Decision goes New York's way. They are penalized. Another free kick. As Dane Richards picks himself up. Sinisa Ubiparapovic was injured in the conference final. Didn't last for 90 minutes there, but has recovered sufficiently to play in that central midfield position today for New York. Olenek trying to turn. Goldthwaite. Vandenberg. Reflection of Hayder, which took the power and he curled off it. Rogers chasing. Superior was always going to win that race. "20 minutes gone at the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. 2008 MLS Cup, no score. Let's go downstairs once again and Mitch Peacock. Mitch.
Hi, Nigel. Well, MVP Guillermo Barros-Schelotto has been fairly quiet early on in this game, but there's some noise being made off the field as it relates to Mr. Schelotto. That is because he is entering the option year of his contract, and Columbus has a big decision to make about what to do with this MVP going forward. They also have a decision to make when it comes to Coach Ziggy Schmidt, who is out of his contract at the end of this season. There have been stories linking Schmidt with a move to the expansion Seattle Sounders FC club. So some key members, some key parts of this Columbus team with their situations in limbo as this final goes forward.
Vandenberg with the ball across. Richards was trying to make a nuisance of himself.
Well, in terms of re-signing Schelotto, I think he's someone you're going to have to keep under contract. Although age is definitely working against him. He's in his mid-30s now. He's still a vital, vital component of what they're trying to do in Columbus. You know, he's not a designated player, ironically, which is a bit surprising considering the impact he's had. But it just goes to show you that every team, regardless of what level they're playing at. To have a solid star player like that is just so crucial. And you don't have to look any further than the impact of Juan Pablo Angel in New York to see what a designated player can do for you. So Toronto FC fans who are watching the game today, knowing that they're in the process of looking at designated players themselves, can look forward to seeing someone possibly of that stature coming to Toronto in the next season.
Sure, that would please the season ticket holders. Chris Leach battling away, finds Richards on that far side. Padula is left for dead. The final ball is between two of them. Vandenberg will pick it up and try and keep the move going for New York. Haydock. Only as far as Goldthwaite for New York. Jimenez and Mendes, the central defensive pairing for the Red Bulls, with Leach and Goldthwaite, the fullbacks. This is Leach. His first full season in Major League Soccer, and Carlos Osorio, having taken Chicago out of the basement in 2007, moved back to New York and has taken the Red Bulls that one step further. People talk about the influence of coaches and their ability to inspire players and produce winning teams.
Well, it's very important, the coach is the figurehead of the club. He sets the tone of the club, and as Jim Brennan was saying earlier, in John Carver's situation, it would be a big, big blow to TFC's hopes next season if he were to leave. And in Siggy Schmidt's contract situation, I've always believed, you dance with the one that brought you. And Siggy Schmidt's been successful there in Columbus, and he should be rewarded for that. I think they'd be very foolish to let him go. But coming out of this Cup final appearance for him, with the contract situation that he's in a very strong position, being able to negotiate opportunities with other teams, perhaps.
He is the MLS Coach of the Year. Mr. Toledo brings proceedings to a temporary halt. Now, is that Haydock or is it Padula?
Gino Padula on the ground there. Difficult to distinguish between the two with their hair. But Gino Padula, the left back, had some experience playing in England with Queen's Park Rangers, came up against him a few times on a number of occasions. Solid player, good left foot, tough tackler. He's been a good off-season addition. Very difficult to see from that picture what happened.
Well, there was certainly no contact, or it didn't appear to be, with Padula, the Argentine playing left back for Columbus. Perhaps a little bit of cramp. You would think it would be a little bit early, but maybe it's no more than that.
It looks like his knee, to be honest, from where the physio's treating him there. It looks like he's got a problem with his left knee. And that would be a big blow for them. You don't want to lose any members of your team early on in a game, certainly not at the back, where your organization and your chemistry is so important.
Stoppage continues. Padula ambles to the far side. At least he's back on his feet.
Earlier picture we saw there was the sporting director of New York Red Bulls, Jeff Agus, himself a very, very successful player for the United States. Number of MLS championships to his name, obviously looking to add one from an administrative standpoint.
Click on from Angel. Couldn't find Richards this time. Scalotto bundled over. Angry about the challenge from Luke Sassano. Columbus quickly on with it. Haydock's well forward. It'll come all the way back to Columbus. And shot there from Eddie Gavin.
Brave header back from Haydock, and the set back to Gavin. Good strike on it, but it's aimed straight at Danny Sapero. He managed to get his hands behind that.
man. Always a willing runner. Trying to set something up on that far side. With a call for Rogers, right-footed this time, straight into the arms of Sapiro. No score in the 2008 MLS Cup final. Moreno looking for some support. It'll come off Goldthwaite. It will be a corner to Columbus, who are beginning to feel their way into this game after a strong start from the Red Bulls.
And you'd expect that as well from the league champions. You'd expect them to come back into this and have some periods of sustained pressure. The key for New York is when they're on top, they have to make it count. They have to take advantage of the chances that come their way, because you know Columbus are going to create chances as well.
Corner for Columbus. Scilotto. Flicked header away. Back in by Padula. Seemingly none the worse.
Well, Padula's limping, though.
Well, I was going to say,
he's running very gingerly there. You just wonder if that left knee is going to hold out for the course of 90 minutes.
Just as I said, none the worse, I noticed that he wasn't as running as freely as perhaps he would like to be. Possibilities here for New York. That's good defending. By Danny O'Rourke. Just for a moment it was one-on-one. Wolonek and Goldthwaite combining. Playing quickly at Wolonek, he'll get a second chance. FIFA Women's Under-20 soccer coming up tonight at midnight local and live on cbcsports.ca. Over the top. Mantel, who else? He knows it wasn't far away.
It's good persistent work from Dane Richards. He bursts through 3 players here and whips that cross back across the face of goal. And if you want anyone falling on a chance like that in the box, it's Juan Pablo Angel. He gets a good connection with his left foot, but he can't quite wrap his foot around it to get it on target.
Esma was certainly helped. Happy to see it clear the crossbar. Richards giving chase. Esma had to be quick. Hell back helping out this time. Finds Vandenberg on this near side. Looking to return the favour. Vandenberg still well forward. Haydock made sure he wasn't going any further. It's a good battle between Vandenberg and Haydock.
It is, and that could very well prove decisive on the day. Vandenberg's already put in a number of good balls across the face of goal. Haydock doing a good job there to close down that space and not allow him time to get ahead of steam.
Goldthwaite with the long throw. Only half away by Columbus. Have more defending to do here. Away comes Scilotto, head up, looking for his partner Moreno. Moreno turns one way, then the other. Moreno will score the opening goal of the 2008 MLS Cup final. Columbus turned defence into attack. Moreno made it look easy. The crew lead it 1-0.
Well, it's another assist for Guillermo Scilotto as well. He picked the pocket of Dave Vandenberg, who tried to shepherd the ball out of play. Scilotto nipped in, stole it off him. We see Vandenberg here. He can't quite get the ball away from danger. Scilotto nicks it off him. Vandenberg appealing for the throw-in, and Moreno gets this out of nothing. There's not really a goal-scoring opportunity here. He's on a very tight angle, but he does the right thing. He shoots it across the face of goal. And you have to question the positioning here of Danny Sapiro.
Well, complaints from New York that the ball had actually crossed the the touchline when Scalotto picked it up and played the ball forward to Moreno. But the goal does stand. And it is Columbus, the heavy favourites, who celebrate the opening goal of the cup final. This first goal in the playoffs. Not a prolific scorer, Moreno, the Venezuelan. One of those big game players, as the Crew fans who've made the journey to Southern California find their voices and begin the celebrations. Rogers, not too far ahead of himself. Well, I wonder whether that's a little bit against the run of play. New York certainly have given as good as they've got in this first half an hour.
They have, but you know what we were saying earlier, that when New York are on top and creating chances, they have to take advantage of those, because Columbus will create chances. Scalotto's the MVP for a reason. He puts things on plates for people, although that goal was down sheerly to the persistence of Scalotto to keep the ball in, and Moreno's determination to get a shot in on goal. I question the goalkeeping on that one, though. It's a very tight angle, and Shapiro, I think, really got to make a save like that. It wasn't a powerful shot, not a lot of pace on the ball. It was well placed, but I'd expect my goalkeeper to make a save in that situation.
Padula gets up well. He appears to be moving a little easier now. So I'm sure if they can get Columbus left back through to half-time, they will do so. Chris Leach. Anderson Jimenez. There is Shapiro, who's been taught a lesson by an old master in the form of Alejandro Moreno in the 31st minute. That's its payback. Shapiro scored against Columbus on his first appearance. Padula with the ball ahead. Away they go again. Needs some help. Comes in the form of Scalotto, of course. Then Rogers with the ball across. He'll get a second chance. Wants it on his left leg. That's by Leach. It will be a corner. Look at the bench and one or two smiling faces for the men in yellow. Not so New York. Chad Marshall, 6'4", making his way forward as Scalotto delivers another. Right-footed, had to punch Shapiro. Still not fully away, Haydock back in. The Crew will regroup. Scalotto for once took his eye off it. 10 minutes to half-time in the 2008 MLS Cup Final. Columbus, as we look at Andy Boyens, former Toronto FC player, not able to play in this game, managed to break his arm in the playoffs, and a frustrated spectator. There could be no worse feeling.
No, it's horrible when you're injured and you can't take part in a big game like this. You always want to be out in the field helping your teammates and experiencing this, but Andy Boyens, a frustrated spectator today, I'm sure.
Frustrated the more so that his team are trailing by a goal to nil. Richards, high and wide. Perhaps he had better options there.
He did. I thought the cross would have been a better solution for him there. You just have to wonder about the choice of final ball by New York so far. That they've had one or two very good situations. Richards got to the byline earlier on. His ball across the face of goal was a poor one. He picked out the wrong player. It's that final decision, having that presence of mind to pick out a teammate in the box and create that goal-scoring opportunity. New York aren't doing that right now.
Rogers might get a second chance. Dula couldn't control it. Leach with the ball forward quickly, looking to get Richards going. No whistle. Come back to Leach. New York try to find a way back into this game. Just keeps it in. Padula concedes the throw. It's time for Columbus to be concentrating, everyone picking up a man, as Leach will launch this into the penalty area. Richards, round one, well, half round one. Scalotto appealing for a handball. Referee waves play on. Vandenberg and Moreno. He was stopped in his tracks by Jimenez. Columbus lead by a single goal just after the half hour. Scored by that man, Alejandro Moreno. Things are heating up with an all-new episode of Dragon's Den, Monday nights at 8, followed by an all-new episode of The Border. All coming up Monday night on CBC TV. Shapiro punches, effectively this time. Vandenberg the ball ahead, continuing his run. Pell looking to make room for himself. Trying to turn provider, wins the corner for New York.
He's such a good player, Juan Pablo Angel. It's not just the goals that he scores, he works so hard for the team. And he creates chances really out of nothing. Putting O'Rourke under a lot of pressure here. He makes a good tackle there, O'Rourke, puts it in the corner.
Ruby Parakovic with the corner. Esper elects to punch, rather flaps at it. Moreno is bundled over by Sassano as he looks to break out of that defensive situation. About a 40-minute drive south of Los Angeles, the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. Home, of course, to the Los Angeles Galaxy and Chivas USA, staging the MLS Cup final for a third time today. And Vandenberg was given time to shoot. Esmer again watched it drift over the bar.
Well, he's been fairly quiet the last 10 minutes or so, but it's not a bad effort from Dave Vandenberg. Just gets under a little bit too much, can't get the ball to drop. Will Hesmer happy to see that fly over the top of his goal. 5 minutes left in the first half. Columbus want to hang on to this one-goal lead, get into the halftime break, leading this fixture.
Flying Dutchman, Dave Vandenberg, whose goal in Salt Lake saw New York through to the final. His whistle goes in favor of New York. Columbus continue to lead. I tell you what, it's been quite an open final. It hasn't been too cagey or stop-start. There's been genuine chances at both ends. It's been quite entertaining.
It has been. And, you know, both these teams obviously want to win this game. It'll be a first championship for either of them. And New York, as we said earlier before, have come into this game full of confidence. They're not expected to be here. They've upset the Houston Dynamo to get here, rode their luck against Real Salt Lake to make it to the final, and they've got nothing to lose here right now. But Columbus are showing everyone why they won the league championship this season, finished first overall, and they deservedly in the lead right now.
Andy Haydock making his opinion known. Trotting back up the field. Well, he felt he was balked by Goldthwaite. Referee and the assistant not impressed. A little over 2 minutes to half-time in the LA sunshine. Columbus Crew leading the New York Red Bulls by a 1-0. Schelotto again charging down the attempted clearance. Had no right to win that, and yet he did. And then he stopped.
This could be a yellow card
for Jimenez. No, says Mr. Toledo. I'll decide when to get the yellow card out. Schelotto, though, has won himself a free kick.
Great tenacity from Schelotto to block that clearance from Jimenez. Great skill as well to cut back here. And Jimenez left with no option but just to wrap his arms around Schelotto. For me, that's a yellow card. Referee obviously decided differently.
Looked obvious on the replay. The referee only gets one look. Schelotto delivers. Shapiro collects. He will not want to have to pick out the ball out of the net before the end of this half, or again in this final if he can help it. Wolonek wins the header. Canada versus Germany takes place next Thursday, November the 27th, 5 Eastern, cbcsports.ca, at the Women's U20 World Cup down in Chile. For that, the Ian Bridges team faces the Democratic Republic of Congo later tonight. Smile from Moreno. He knows that in all likelihood it is his goal that will separate the teams at the end of the first half. Padula taking no chances. Two minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. The 2008 MLS Cup final. That's a good reverse ball, just too much weight on it. Confirmation of the added time. Sano is well forward. Quickly was Gavin. Moreno setting his sights again. This time Shapiro is equal to the shot.
Well, Moreno just gets this out of his feet and decides to let one fly. Shapiro sees it all the way, makes a good save. Apart from the goal that he conceded earlier on in the half, Shapiro has been equal to the task against anything Columbus has thrown his way, which is credit for the rookie. He's only played 6 games as a professional, and that's a remarkable position to be in right now, playing for a cup final.
And if there was one place in the entire net that Moreno could have scored from that angle, he put it almost on a dime.
Well, it was a great finish from Moreno. You have to give him some credit, but I still think that Shapiro should have got a hand to it. There wasn't a lot of pace on the shot, although it was well placed.
Rogers coming forward, running out of pitch. Annoyed with himself because he knew he was almost away there.
He was. He had open field in front of him.
Robbie Rogers has had a bit of a stop-start time in the game so far. He hasn't really delivered on his promise of putting the ball into dangerous areas for Moreno and Scalotto, but he's someone that's capable of creating opportunities out of nothing.
But it is Scalotto and Moreno who combined for the only statistic that really matters in the first half in the 2008 Cup final. Moreno's goal in the 31st minute is the goal which separates these two rookie finalists. Neither team has ever made it to the big show before. They're both here today. Columbus expected to win this game. They haven't had it all their own way, but they are leading at the half by 1-0.
And they deserve to be in front, to be honest. They took their chances when they were presented to them, whereas New York didn't. New York had some early sustained pressure, created a number of scoring opportunities. Nothing clear-cut per se that you could qualify as a really solid goal-scoring opportunity, but that's the only statistic that matters. Columbus lead this 1-0.
And Angel has been somewhat quiet. We spoke about his likely influence. It hasn't really materialized.
It hasn't materialized just yet, but he's always a threat, Angel. As we see Alejandro Moreno, the goal scorer.
Let's throw it down to Mitch Peacock, who is with the goal scorer. Mitch?
Yes, indeed, gentlemen. The man with the only goal of the game so far. They're halfway to a championship, but lots of time to go. Your thoughts on the first 45 minutes?
Well, we just need to settle down and play a little bit. You know, it seemed like they were pressing us at the beginning of the game, but maybe about halfway through the first half, we were able to start knocking the ball around and getting people in behind, and we're creating some more opportunities.
Are you getting what you expected from New York?
I think they're attacking a little bit more than what we had expected, but they're a dangerous team going forward. They've obviously shown that. Dane Richards creating some problems from us, so it's important that we stay organized and that we see this game out, but that we get forward. We can create some chances in a counter and try to get the second goal.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
The first 45 minutes of the 2008 MLS Cup is in the books. The favorites from Columbus lead 1-0.
Worry doll. Take away all worries.
Really? Do you have bigger ones?
No, these are lovely. It's just that we have big worries.
Grande worries.
No.
Investments.
No, investmentitos?
No. Market fluctuations. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down like that.
How do you stop worrying about your investments? Protect them. BMO Life Stage Plus funds protect your initial investment and growth.
New, beef-flavored pedigree Dentistix. Could there be an easier way to help clean between teeth? I'm thinking no. Clinically proven pedigree Dentistix.
On November 25th, own Hancock, the action-packed DVD that includes both theatrical and unrated versions, with footage never seen before in theaters.
I don't even remember that.
Will Smith is the coolest superhero ever. On Blu-ray, high def, and 2-disc DVD, November 25th.
Why use a basic cleanser that stops there? Olay skin-loving cleansers do more. Hydrate and cleanse, clarify and cleanse, even age-defying cleansers. Why just cleanse? Do more for your skin with Olay. Love the skin you're in.
Tuesday. There are some at court who would like to see the Queen replaced. Henry's crimes against us are too profound to forgive. So I ask you, will you invade England?
The Tudors, Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
They come face to face with the people in the headlines.
He wasn't entirely truthful with you.
Ask the tough questions.
What did you have to hide at that point?
Finding the truth about the stories that matter to you. CBC News, The Fifth Estate.
Wednesday at 9 on CBC.
We are back at the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. After 45 minutes, it's Columbus leading the New York Red Bulls by a goal. Well, joining us is Toronto skipper Jimmy Brennan. And Jim, what caught your eye during that first half of play?
I think with the first goal, if you look at it, Moreno, he's on a very tough angle. I think with Severo, if he could have that shot back again, I think he would have set his angle up a little bit better and stopped it, because it did seem to be a bit of a weak goal. but Columbus will take that, definitely.
Well, now with their thoughts and analysis and some highlights of that first half of play, let's join Nigel Reed and Jason DeVos.
Brenda, thank you. Well, it is Columbus that lead, but they certainly didn't have it all their own way. New York made the early running here. Wallenet getting a left footer away, but too high to trouble Will Hesmer. But early endeavour from New York posed one or two questions for the Crew defence.
Dave Vandenberg with a corner into a dangerous area. Kevin Goldthwait gets his head on the ball, but can't direct it on target. Just a glancing header from Goldthwait. And these are the chances that would come back to haunt New York in the first half.
Eddie Gavin here with the strike, straight at Shapiro, a yard either side. It might have been the opening goal. Good work again for Moreno to set up Gavin for the shot.
And this is the difference between the two teams. When they get chances, Columbus have finished them. Alejandro Moreno from a tight angle puts the ball in the only place where it could beat Danny Shapiro, bottom left-hand corner, and he owes a great deal of thanks to Scalotto, who kept this ball in. Danny Shapiro, I think, has to save that. For me as a defender, I would want to see a keeper make that save. It's not a powerful shot across the face of goal. Shapiro needs to get a hand on that to keep the scores level at 0-0.
Despite the protests from New York, the goal stands. Shots on goal. Columbus leading in that department and in shots overall. Columbus lead the MLS final, Brenda, by 1-0.
Thanks, Nigel. Well, Jim, one quick thought on the key for New York in this second half.
I think they've got to use Dane Richards a bit more. I think with his pace, and Padula seems to be limping and has a bit of an injury, I think they've got to use that long ball a bit more and get Dane Richards in behind, because a couple of times that he's got in, he's created problems, and I think it's just one opportunity, and Angel will slip one home.
Well, before we get to the second half, Mitch Peacock will be joined by the Commissioner of Major League Soccer, Don Garber. We will have that interview when we return.
Caro signor Cacà, il livello del San Marino, da dove vengo, non è così alto come immagino, saprai. Tu hai dei suggerimenti su come migliorare la mia tecnica?
Buongiorno. Ciao. Non siamo giocatori singoli, siamo una squadra. Ok?
You probably know that split ends are caused by damage. But did you know that Dove can repair it? Dove Intense Damage Therapy is different because it contains a unique repairing serum. It repairs accumulated damage by penetrating into each hair strand. Make your hair pass the split ends test every morning. Try the precious repairing serum in the Dove Intense Damage Therapy System. Goodbye damage. Good morning, beautiful hair.
Dale and Brennan just became stepbrothers.
He's a very good singer.
I'm really, really good. How good?
Let's give them something to talk about.
Your voice is like a combination of Fergie and Jesus.
Stepbrothers on 2-disc unrated Blu-ray high def and DVD December 2nd.
We're back. It's the final bell. The last lap. Air Farce takes its final flight. With 10 final Friday nights.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Fridays at 8 on CBC.
The day you believe in your own publicity, your day.
Come for the celebrities.
There's tougher things to survive in the movie business.
It's a lot of names. These are all my lovers.
Come for the interviews.
You want to tell this story because it's so full of complication.
Come for the hour.
This is where we have sex.
This is where the magic happens. Oh.
There's so much more creative control in this country.
If you risk big, then you stand an opportunity to win big.
The Hour with George Stroumboulopoulos. Weeknights at 11 on CBC Television.
At the half, it's Columbus leading New York 1-0. And as we mentioned earlier, Major League Soccer announced that Montreal is no longer in the running for an expansion franchise in 2011. And Mitch Peacock spoke with the commissioner about that and other issues of importance to the league.
Commissioner, earlier in the week you announced that Montreal will no longer be under consideration for the next wave of expansion in Major League Soccer. What can you tell us about that decision?
Let me start by saying that we have tremendous respect for the Saputo family, the impact George Gillette and Pierre Boivin at the Canadiens, and we both work very hard to try to find a way to have Montreal have the best possible bid. But I think at the end of the day, we were not able to find a way that their application really satisfied all the requirements of the MLS expansion bid, and as such really can no longer consider them for our next round of expansion. I'm hopeful that that could change in our next round. I mean, I believe in the market, I believe in the family, I believe that we need to have presence in Montreal, and life's a long time, and we're new to the country, the league is new to Canada, so long term I expect that we'll be able to get back to Montreal.
There will be many people who will be disappointed to find out that Montreal is no longer under consideration for a place in Major League Soccer, at least at this time, but it does leave Ottawa and Vancouver. What can you tell us about those groups and those bids to join the league?
Well, Eugene Melnick and his guys came into our board meeting this week and had a very, very powerful presentation as to why Ottawa should be considered, and the strength of soccer in that community and the power that the Senators have in that market and their vision for what professional soccer, Major League Soccer would be. Research about the awareness of MLS and certainly the success of our league, which is really a great story for us. Vancouver is just such an exciting opportunity with the success of the Whitecaps in the early days of the NASL to what they've been able to do with the Whitecaps in their new iteration in the USL. And Greg Kerfoot and Jeff Mallett came in, and Steve Nash is part of that group as well, and told a fantastic story about their vision for a renovated BC Place and how a downtown stadium can really be very compelling. It would be right now really the only one we would have in Major League Soccer. So exciting opportunities, particularly when you think about some of the other things that might take place with MLS in the Pacific Northwest.
Don, you've said in the past that 2007 was the best year in the history of Major League Soccer. How do you feel you did for an encore in 2008?
Well, it starts with the success of TFC. That is the model. We think it's one of the great models for professional sports team launches. That same entity that awarded MLS with the Pro Sports League of the Year considered Toronto FC as the Pro Sports Team of the League in North America. Sold out, standing room only, season ticket waiting list, a very, very passionate fan base that I think is teaching many American fans how to truly be a hardcore soccer fan. So that contributed to the momentum that we retained from '07. We had a new team come in with the San Jose Earthquakes. We had strong attendance and strong television ratings. David Beckham had another year in Major League Soccer. Cuauhtemoc Blanco, a very strong Mexican player, had a fantastic year, all leading up to this great race we had leading up to the MLS Cup coming on today.
Well, best of luck with that. We appreciate the time.
After the first 45 minutes, it's Alejandro Moreno with the only goal so far in this match, 1-0 Columbus leading New York.
Since the beginning of time, the gods of Olympus loved to party. And to make the party special, they had a divine secret. Then, one day, it slipped from the heavens to be discovered by man.
Is this for real?
Ferrero Rocher. Could there be a more divine creation?
Introducing Braun Series 7. The world's first shaver with pulsonic technology. Its oscillating head with over 10,000 micropulses per minute gives you incredibly smooth skin. The Series 7, one of Braun's perfectly smooth gifts.
You folks okay?
Not really.
No.
We don't know whether to top up our RSPs or pay down our mortgage.
Or if our investments are working hard enough for us.
I know what you mean. Short term, long term. See you around.
How do you get money off your mind? By making sense of it. BMO Bank of Montreal. Making money make sense.
Coming to Blu-ray High Def and DVD. Farrell.
Out of my face.
Versus Riley. The funniest film this year.
Still hate you.
Step Brothers. On 2-disc unrated Blu-ray High Def and DVD December 2nd.
She looks gorgeous.
More fashion.
These pants are on sale for $12.
More food.
Your family's gonna think you are a pastry chef.
More fabulous. Stephen and Chris. Weekdays at 2 on CBC.
Back at the Home Depot Center in Carson, California, the second half is about to get underway. Here now with the call is Nigel Reed and Jason DeVos.
Brenda, thank you so much. Much thinking to be done in the New York dressing room. And you see them there in a huddle on the left-hand side of your screen. All for one, one for all in this second half, and that's the way it's got to be for the Red Bulls. They've got to come out strongly right at the start of this second period.
Well, and that's exactly what Juan Carlos Osorio will have told his team at the halftime break. You've had chances. You put Columbus under pressure early on. Now go out there and do the same thing, yet take those chances. You know, when you're on top in games, you have to make that count. New York haven't done that, and they're paying the price right now behind this game 1-0.
Columbus crew. All in yellow.
He said he was very disappointed.
That's the start of the second half.
The first half. Columbus really
Mr.
only had
Toledo
one real scoring opportunity.
waits for a signal to get us underway.
The entire plan was
start of this second half.
Not to close in the attack the way they had been playing really the last few months. But
just a moment longer.
Coming from the wings more so. We felt that they were very successful in that.
Before the crew get us underway in this second half.
Report on the crew. Here's Alan Hopkins.
Thanks, Fraser. I talked to head coach Siggy Schmidt, and he told me his big adjustment in the second half is defensively more pressure on the ball, but also make sure that they're stepping up and dropping off, very much like...
So just about ready to kick off. All 11 on each side. Mr. Toledo signals the start of the second half. Columbus all in yellow, playing from right to left in this second half and leading the contest by Alejandro Moreno's 31st minute goal, struck across the body of Danny Shapiro to give the crew a priceless lead. It took a little while to grow into the game. Columbus are just about everyone's favourites before a ball is kicked here. There wasn't much in it in that first half. Certainly New York had opportunities. None better so perhaps than Kevin Goldthwaite's header. There's the man who is not only the league's MVP, but has also had a hand in that opening goal. He's involved in everything, Scaloni. You just can't keep a good man down, can you?
No, it's a difficult decision for New York as well. You know, what do? Do you man mark him all over the park and try and stop his influence that way? You know, opening yourself up to be hurt by other players like Robbie Rogers and Alejandro Moreno. So it's a difficult choice for Juan Carlos Osorio, the New York coach, one that they haven't quite managed to figure out just yet.
Hell, didn't see too much of him in the first half. The veteran Colombian battling for possession. 33 goals in 47 regular season appearances for Angel. He'd like to add one more today. New York get the free kick. Parapovic will take it. It's Marshall, keeps the watching brief on Angel. Westwood sort of caught it, but elected to punch. Forward at speed. Come Columbus again with Gavin. Rushes off Richards. Scalotto again with the ball ahead. Gavin, Moreno looking to turn. In fact, it was Rogers in the thick of it. Moreno was waiting for the lateral pass, which didn't come.
Great little flick over the top, and this is the vision that Guillermo Barros-Schelotto has. He sees Rogers make that run, flips the ball over the top. Great play for the Argentinian.
No changes for either side at half-time. Wolonek has been a willing worker for the New York cause in the opening 45 minutes. Had a couple of brief looks at goal himself. Kevin Goldthwaite, formerly of Toronto FC, who came closest for the Red Bulls in that opening period. Good distance on the throw. And Hell thought that it should have been a corner. The referee disagreed with him. A rueful shake of the head. Gavin, did he keep it in? Defender of the year, Chad Marshall. And I'm not sure whether it's worthy of mention, but I'll mention it for what it may be worth. Dane Richards looks to come forward for New York. These teams met 3 times in the regular season. And New York are on top as far as those stats are concerned, leading through 2-1. Let's review those keys to the game. Firstly, Columbus.
Well, the MVP is having a good game today. Guillermo Barros-Schelotto set up the goal for Alejandro Moreno, and they've managed to shackle Juan Pablo Angel so far in the game. Chad Marshall and company doing a very good job keeping him under wraps in the opening 45 minutes.
Chris Leach going to ground under the challenge of Rogers. 5 minutes gone in the second half of the 2008 MLS Cup final on CBC Sports.
Well, Danny Sapero, he hasn't had a bad game, but when he was called on to make an important stop, he came up with a mistake.
Richards trying to thread the ball through the opening goal. And Wolonek ties it up. 5 minutes after the restart. And just the way Juan Carlos Osorio imagined it would happen during his halftime team talk. There's the coach. The happy faces of New York are back on level terms. Richards did a lot to do with it. It's 1-1 at the Home Depot Center.
Well, we tempted fate just as we're talking about how New York have failed to capitalize on their opportunities in the first half. Dane Richards slides a great little ball through, and Wolonek gets on the end of it, getting ahead and putting a toe on it, pushing it past Will Hesmer in goal. And New York have found a lifeline. They're right back in this again.
Game on, as they say. Wolonek's goal who brought New York to this final. Vandenberg scored the solitary goal in Salt Lake. But Wolonek certainly had a part to play, putting his name on the score sheet in Houston. On the mind this time, and then straight back in front again, and it's Chad Marshall getting forward for the corner. Columbus back in front, seconds after conceding the lead. Marshall is the goal scorer. The Crew lead 2-1.
But we spoke about Marshall being a key player today at both ends of the park. New York haven't dealt with his threat in the air here. He makes a good run. Dangerous ball in from Scalotto. Marshall gets ahead on it. He scored 4 goals for them during the regular season. And the MLS Defender of the Year pops up and gives them the lead, not even a minute after they conceded the equalizer.
Joy short-lived for New York, who find themselves chasing the game for a second time. Leach. Sassano trying not to turn into trouble. But he was a little too vigorous as the ball ran away from him. Chad Marshall reflects on a vital goal. And this will be a Columbus free kick. Moreno in some discomfort. Once again, the responsibility falls to Scalotto. Defender something up. 40 yards out. The chip ahead. This time the defending is better. It wasn't for the corner. Scalotto with the flick ahead again. Rogers battling with Leach. Columbus ball. Trying to keep the move going. Clearance completed. How many times do we see it? A team scores a goal, then goes to sleep for a minute.
It's such a killer blow for New York as well. The euphoria of getting themselves back on level terms is erased less than a minute later as they concede from the corner.
To be fair to Marshall, it was a good header. Rogers with the ball across. His weaker right foot. Scalotto, nice stuff. Moreno was closing in, but couldn't direct it. But he didn't get the last touch. Scalotto the opportunity to keep the pressure on. And it's near side corner. Shapiro didn't get there last time. Clearance completed. Long downfield, but O'Rourke will start another move for Columbus. Dane Richards can use his speed, paced by Padula. Richards had a hand in the first goal, still Richards. Well, Hesmer didn't catch it cleanly, but he had time to recover.
It's an effective tactic. Jim Brennan mentioned this at halftime, that Dane Richards needs to get involved in the game more. With pace like that, it's exactly what Juan Carlos Tensorio is going to want from him. Run at Padula, who's struggling a little bit with a left knee injury. Take advantage of that pace, get past him, get balls into the box, or create goal-scoring opportunities for yourself. That's the kind of impact that Dane Richards needs to have to get New York back in this game.
For the time being, more pressure at the other end of the field. Jimenez forced to punt it into touch. Frustration showing on the face of the New York coach as Columbus press for a third goal. Scalotto looking to weave some more magic. This time he wins only a throw-in. Hell, isolated figure. Goes to New York. Scalotto can't quite believe it. Two-1 to the Crew as we go downstairs, and Mitch Peacock. Mitch?
Nigel, interesting to see Columbus respond the way they have to giving up the equalizer, coming back with the goal to take the lead. After training on Friday, I talked with a number of Columbus Crew players, and they pointed to the start of the season where they won 6 of 7 games, and they said it really gave them a confidence to respond in situations, whether they were up, whether they were down, whatever it was, they felt that they could come through, and I think we saw a little bit of that in Marshall coming back to give them the lead.
Thank you, Mitch. It's a statistic, you know, that shouldn't be ignored, even in the conference final against Chicago. Columbus fell behind to the opening goal, had the belief and the tenacity to come through and win that game. They've done it more than once this season, so it certainly isn't an accident as far as Columbus is concerned. Well, no prizes for guessing who that might be. He looks exactly the same as the Columbus number 7. Similarity is obvious for everyone to see. But it does talk about Columbus's ability to come through in positions of adversity.
It is, and that's the difference between great teams and good teams. You know, great teams find a way to win games, regardless of how they're playing, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. They find a way to drag themselves back in. Columbus could have collapsed after giving up that equalizer to New York. Instead, they bounce back, go right up the other end, score the go-ahead goal, and take that lead back once again.
Goldthwaite, Jimenez, the long ball forward, in hope rather than in expectation of hitting Angel. Plenty of time, of course. Still not quite hit the hour mark. Goldthwaite not quite sure of his whereabouts for a moment. But it certainly has continued the second half in the entertaining nature of the first. Richards looking to go inside. Padula maybe go outside him. Good ball skills. Leach has done well. Needs a telling final ball. Haydock got his foot in the way. And Padula will tidy up for Columbus. As far as a white shirt, here in the form of Richards. And play that little killer ball through the middle. But again, not able to link up with Angel. Scalotto testing the patience of the referee. Not for the first time. Toledo, you will not be surprised to learn, speaks fluent Spanish and English. I would imagine that was a conversation that took place in Spanish. Padula gets us underway again. It's all part of the game.
Scalotto has a reputation for demanding the attention of the referee whenever he comes into contact with the opposing players, but you can't question the man's ability or the impact that he's had on the game so far. He sent Moreno away to open the scoring and delivered the corner for Marshall to put them back in the lead again.
That is why the scoreboard is as it is at the top of your screen. So with the Red Bulls trailing by 2-1, at what stage does Juan Carlos Osorio start thinking about substitutions?
Well, there's still a half an hour to go in the game. You know, he's still going to give 1 or 2 players another opportunity, maybe another 5-10 minutes at the most to get New York back in this game, and then he has to start thinking about making changes and throwing players forward, because as the score stands right now, it's useless to New York. They want to win this game. They want to win their first ever championship. And to do that, they're going to have to change the way things are going right now.
Goldthwaite with a long throw, Richards making a nuisance of himself, scrambled away by Columbus for the time being.
The other thing you want to bear in mind when you make a substitution, you want to give that player enough time to bed into the game and have an impact. If you only give them 5 or 6 minutes at the end of the game, it generally is difficult to make an impact at that stage. 20 minutes is what most players are looking for to get themselves into the game and have an impact on the result.
Well, New York need a goal. Of that there is no question. Rojas might be a possibility. Chipped forward, but harmlessly out of play.
Dane Richards just tried to clip that into Juan Pablo Angel, but this is where you see young players who burst into the league and have a tremendous amount of promise. Oftentimes they make bad decisions in good areas. Dane Richards would have been better served there, trying to strike that on goal, drive through the ball, keep it low. Angel was always on hand to knock in any rebounds that might present themselves. But Richards has a key role to play in the last half an hour or so of this game. His pace is going to be crucial for anything New York do going forward. They do need to get him on the ball, though, to take advantage of that.
Well, our day of soccer is far from finished. Tonight's late night at 30 minutes past midnight on the full network. And streamed live from 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. It is Canada's second game of the FIFA U20 Women's World Cup in Chile. Canada up against the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it is a game that Coach Ian Bridge knows his team must win after dropping their opener against Japan. The out. Each kept it in, almost at the risk of personal injury. But is Angel, who we are still waiting to explode into this final. Of course, it can take only a second or less to score a goal. So this game is far from over. The white shirts of New York. Handball, was it? Against Scalotto. What did I do, referee? Well, Mr. Toledo was a lot closer than me, but I could see that was a handball.
He didn't know a lot about it, Scalotto, because he fell over. The ball just hit him on the arm.
Of course it did.
He just slips here, falls over, although the Argentinian had a little glimpse at the ball there. I'm not so sure he didn't know what he was doing. Of course, he would never admit that to the referee, would he?
I have to suspect he knew exactly what he was doing. Spotted by the referee. Free kick the result in favor of New York. It's all of 40 yards out. 2 in the wall. It would take a mighty strike from this distance. It's too high. Hesmer was not troubled.
You know, even though that's a long way out, it's still an opportunity for Angel, because when he was here in Toronto for the MLS All-Star game, I was watching him hit free kicks in practice, and he is incredible. He hits the ball as true as you possibly can, and it flies all over the place. It dips and swerves, and another opportunity like that from a little bit closer in could possibly give Hesmer all kinds of problems in goal.
Hader had to be quick to get there ahead of Vandenberg. It's come back to Hader. The header on, but the referee's whistle has gone first. Gavin penalised. Columbus protecting this slender lead. Moreno trying to take advantage of the slip. Gavin making a nuisance of himself. New York calmly clear it. Well, they didn't calmly clear it, because in the end Vandenberg couldn't keep it in.
It's a little bit sloppy from Vandenberg. Took his eye off the ball, slipped under his foot. And mistakes like that are something that New York need to keep to a minimum if they're going to get themselves back in this game.
As we enter the final quarter of the contest, Richards trying to outrun Padula, almost managing it. Soria thinks that his man was marked, unfairly challenged, and this time there is a yellow card. Well,
Gino Padula gets a card here for going through the back of Dane Richards. Richards gets around him, and you can see there that tackle went right through Richards, who was in behind Padula. Padula protesting his innocence, but I think the referee got that one right. Dane Richards, that's exactly what he has to do. Use his pace. If need be, push the ball 15 yards beyond Padula and use your pace to get in behind.
Confirmation of the caution, the Argentinian. Val waits with his predatory instincts. Let's calm it down, boys, says the referee. Vandenberg find the right application here. Curling away, keeper comes, good punch from Hesmer. The out was Hader, who went on and under the challenge of Richards. And prevented any follow-up attack from New York. Thinking about replacements. One or two tired legs out there. Perhaps New York, more than Columbus, need a fresh injection of fresh legs and fresh ideas at this stage.
Well, now is about the time of the game that you want some fresh ideas as well. Around the 70-minute mark, when you want to make an impact substitution, you want to throw players on there, try and liven things up a little bit. It's certainly something New York are going to have to look at in the next couple of minutes if they're going to turn this game around in their favor.
Dave Ciccero may be an option for Osorio. We'll see in due course. Shapiro is left-footed. The referee might get that go for a moment. Brad Evans and Luke Sassano came together. Sassano appeared to be holding the back of that left knee. So again, a brief stoppage.
Evans just misses the ball more than anything. Tries to come across and make the tackle on Sassano. Missed the tackle and ended up getting most of Sassano's leg.
This time Padula is first to the ball. Richards was there to pressure. And some words exchanged afterwards between the two. Referee. Padula's already been booked. Asking the two players to shake hands. There's a reluctance about it. There. Well, finally they got there.
Kiss and make up, boys.
I'm not sure there was much sincerity in the handshake from either. On we go. 18 minutes left in the 2008 MLS Cup final. Goals from Moreno and Marshall. Giving Columbus a 2-1 lead. New York were level for barely a minute. Straining every sinew, Padula. On that far side, Frankie Hayder. Gavin. Davids continued his run. Have to be watchful. Gavin's become an increasing presence in this game. Anderson Jimenez, ever watchful in central defence for New York. Haydock wins the throw. The captain of Columbus has no intention of having the cup taken from his grasp at this stage of the game. It's a way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Goldthwaite belts the ball forward for New York. Shapiro does likewise. Well, the Rick Mercer report coming up Tuesday at 8. It catches up with singer-songwriter Feist on the last leg of her international tour. The Rick Mercer report, Tuesday at 8 on CBC TV. We're close to the last 15 minutes. Time is beginning to become an issue for the New York Red Bulls in the 2008 MLS Cup final, which they trailed to Columbus by 2-1. Haydock, the captain, continuing his run, trying to find the decisive cross. The throw to Columbus, which Haydock will take. Or will he? Well, he'll take his time, that's for sure.
That's when the experience comes into play, leading 2-1, 15 minutes to play. You know you don't have to hurry things up at all. You want to take as much time as possible over things.
Shapiro kept his eyes on it. So last quarter of an hour, it is Columbus in the driving seat, leading New York by 2-1. We'll go downstairs once again, and Mitch Peacock. Mitch?
You know, Nigel, Columbus certainly is in the driving seat. They've got the lead in this game with time winding down, but history is not necessarily in their favor. Of course, they've never won a league championship. But also, when you look at Supporters' Shield winners over the years, there has not been a Supporters' Shield winner to take the MLS Cup championship since 2002. And only 4 of 12 previous Supporters' Shield winners have gone on to win the MLS Cup. So they've got some history to try and work through as they try and wrap this game up.
The Supporters' Shield, of course, is the award given out to the leading team at the end of the regular season, which by some distance was won this year by the Columbus crew. But as Mitch said, doesn't always guarantee success in the MLS Cup final. Moreno scored one, trying to get his name on the score sheet again for Columbus. Schelotto hits the woodwork. Had that found the net, the Argentinian would have put the game to bed. Shapiro was grasping at fresh air. Was saved by the frame of the goal as Columbus come through again. "13 minutes remaining at the Home Depot Centre. Chris Leach. Van Hel. Lula wins it back for Columbus. It'll be a New York throw. Interesting to see Van Hel wide on the right-hand side. And perhaps his manager wants him to see him right up top, as the target man.
Well, I think Hangel's probably frustrated a little bit. He hasn't seen much of the ball in the second half. Columbus have done a very good job keeping him under wraps. So Angel will wander around the pitch to try and get on the ball, to try and get himself involved a little bit more in the game. As we see New York possibly bringing in a substitution. 13 minutes to go now.
Jorge Rojas is the fresh pair of legs. That Juan Carlos Osorio hopes will provide that missing link and spark. Here again, the effort from Schelotto, which gave Sapiro absolutely no chance at all. 2 or 3 inches lower, and the game would have been over as a contest. Rojas on, by the way, for Luke Sassano in midfield. Where's number 13? Leach. With a backward glance at Jimenez. Still continuing the conversation, Chris Leach. Certainly wasn't particularly happy with his central defensive teammate. Schelotto rides one challenge, wins the free kick. They know that glory is close. A little over 10 minutes plus stoppage time before the party can really start, but there's work still to do. Schelotto. Curling ball, easy for the goalkeeper this time. Quickly gets on with it. It's a long way back for Marshall and co. New York have to take advantage. Vandenberg trying to whip it in. And kept in by Hesper. Took a deflection. But Hesper prevented the corner. There's the new man, Jorge Rojas. And he plays off the front two for the Red Bulls. Should be easy for Sapiro. Inside the last 10 minutes. Men in yellow, and they're following thousands. Need to concentrate and buckle down for a little while longer. Moreno, only one ahead of him. Poor ball from Moreno, almost got it back, did get it back. Rogers looking to turn, Schelotto, the ball over the top. Frankie Haydock has won the MLS Cup for Columbus. The captain's done it. It's 3-1. It is game over.
Well, Frankie Haydock carries his run into the box, and you could argue that this game was won by Guillermo Barros Schelotto. What a glorious ball from Schelotto, who sees the run of Haydock, flips it over the top, and Haydock's brave here. He goes in on Sapiro. He's possibly going to get clattered by the goalkeeper. He's got eyes only for the ball, and heads it over the top of Sapiro into the goal. 3-1 to the Columbus Crew. And you can't argue with the result right now. They've been the better of the two teams. And no one more deserving than Frankie Haydock, who's been a fantastic servant to U.S. soccer and the Columbus Crew.
That's what it means. New York have made a second substitution during the celebrations. Makumba Kanji is on to replace the tireless John Wolonek. long, long way back now for New York.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet. Well, certainly not in terms of entertainment. And there's the man who is the league's MVP. And may well be this game's MVP as well. Guillermo Barros-Schelotto. Richards battling bravely for the cause. Leach will provide the cross. Effective header away. Is there any way back here for New York?
I can't see it. Juan Pablo Angel has been kept under wraps all game very well by Chad Marshall and company. And you look at the goal scoring, 3-1 to Columbus, 3 assists to Schelotto. That says it all right there about the influence that the MVP has had for his team over the course of the season. And justice has been done so far. Columbus deserved to win this game. They deserve to win the regular season title. And I don't think an upset's going to happen here.
Good industry once again from Dane Richards, but ran out of options. In fact, it was the substitute Kanji that time.
When you look at Juan Pablo Angel's face, you can see the frustration written all over it. He knows he hasn't had a great game today. He knows he hasn't had the influence that he would have wanted to, and that's very, very frustrating for a big game player like Angel.
The free kick goes to Columbus. 2 first-time finalists, but it looks like it will be unlucky 13 for New York. This is the 13th edition of the MLS Cup final. First contested back in 1996. Battling skills this time. Richards' first touch let him down. Robbie Rogers immediately turning defence into attack. With a drift away for a goal kick. And the young goalkeeper, Dennis Shapiro, will want to get good distance on his clearance. He's had a dream start to his professional career. Perhaps all New York's good luck and good fortune was used up in Salt Lake. Siggy Schmidt close to tasting success in this competition for the second time. It was 6 years ago when he led the Galaxy to the MLS Cup. Leach. Forward come the white shirts again. Berg. 4 to aim for in the penalty area. Are coming together there.
It's a dive. It's a dive from Angel,
and
it's a yellow card for diving. He's very lucky to get away with that.
The referee's let it go for the moment. I'm sure he may have spotted something. Let the play go on. Will he go back and take action retrospectively? Moreno, faced by Goldthwaite. Kevin Goldthwaite had the first real chance of the afternoon. His header drifted wide. And that's about as close as New York have come. And there it is, the brand new Anschutz trophy, which will be awarded to the winners. Moreno has certainly had a hand in the Columbus victory, if that is how it should finish. And I get on track with World Cup bobsleigh skeleton racing on CBC, with 3 days of competition from Winterberg, Germany. It all begins 3 a.m. Friday, November 28th, with the first runs of the women's skeleton. It will all be streamed live at cbcsports.ca. long throw. Angie hasn't really had an opportunity or time to get up to speed with the pace of the game. Coming into a situation where desperate measures are called for, but they don't care about that. They idolize this man. 2 minutes left of the 90, plus whatever stoppage time the referee cares to add. But Frankie Haydock's header after 83 minutes surely has sealed the fate of New York. Sigi Schmidt preparing to make some substitutions. Moreno finds Haydock. Gavin on the charge again. Could go all the way. It's a fine last-ditch tackle. At the expense of a corner, it could have been a lot worse. Goldthwaite did very well there.
It's a great tackle. He gets back and Eddie Gavin's away, and it looks like all he has to do is slide the ball across the face of goal for an easy tap-in. Goldthwaite gets back, makes a wonderful tackle, but I don't think it's going to make any difference to the outcome of this game. Columbus well on course to lift their first ever MLS Cup championship.
Got the reaction of the fans behind that corner flag to Schelotto. Going down in adoration. Moreno will take all the time he can to play, keep it in the corner. Vandenberg manages to entice the mistake, if you can call it that.
Moreno's played really well today. Apart from the goal that he scored in the first half, he's held the ball up well. He's taken a lot of abuse, won a lot of free kicks, but he brings his other teammates into play, and that's exactly what you look for in a target man. As a link player, Moreno is one of the best in the league.
Schelotto again. 3 minutes of stoppage time. Robbie Rogers takes it away from goal. Let's go and play with the corner flag again. Mendes was making sure that he'd exited the playing surface rather quicker. Substitution. We'll bring on Andy Iro for surely the man of the hour. Guillermo Barros Schelotto. Welcome. What can you say about this man's performance that we haven't already said?
Well, we said before the show started, MVP performance is what they needed from Guillermo Barros Schelotto, and that's exactly what they got. League MVP in the regular season. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't win the MVP of this Cup final as well. A wonderful performance from the Argentinian.
An Argentinian replaced by a Scouser. Liverpudlian Andy Iro will get his chance to feel the playing surface, and a triumphant end to the season and the cup final for the men in yellow. Mendes. It's not going to be his day. Juan Carlos Osorio led Chicago to the conference final 12 months ago, led New York to the MLS Cup. 12 months later, he will have to wait perhaps another year. To lift the trophy himself. Even at this late stage, Esma screaming at his defenders.
And this is the difference. This is why Columbus are winning this game, and New York are going to go home as losers. They didn't take the chances that they had in the early part of the game when they were on top. And that's a great chance for Ubi Parapovic. Can't even manage to hit the target.
Eddie Gavin will come out of the game with, what, barely 30 seconds remaining in stoppage time. Stephen Lennart will take his place. It's purely a cosmetic replacement, shall we say. It will have no bearing on the outcome of the game. Just seconds remaining. Moreno, well, maybe he'll have the last touch. He had the first word in terms of the opening goal. Can they get it off him? It matters not. We're just waiting for the final whistle to bring down the curtain on the 2008 MLS Cup. And why wouldn't they smile? Gavin and Scalotto. They know they're going to be winners. Jimenez appeared to step on the back of Moreno there, who made his point to the assistant referee. The only point worth making now is that Columbus Crew, for the first time in franchise history, are MLS Cup champions. They have beaten the New York Red Bulls by 3-1. Handshakes between Schmidt and Osorio. It was a good battle. It was an even battle for the first half. But in the end, as many anticipated, quality told. Columbus finished 18 points ahead of New York in the regular season, and in truth they are comfortable winners of the Anschutz Trophy.
And the best team won on the day. New York came out very quickly in the opening part of the game, put Columbus under a lot of pressure, created a few half chances, but never really threatened the goal. Will Hesmer stayed strong in goal for them all game long. And then Columbus slowly came back into it. The goal changed things for them. Scalotto keeping the ball in on the touchline, sending Moreno away, and he gave them the lead. New York found a way back in, scored early in the second half, but within a minute, Columbus were back in front again, and that's the difference. If you get those opportunities and you take them, that's how you win games. And that man there, Juan Pablo Angel, very frustrated, never really had a sight of goal, and it's going to have to wait till next year for the Colombian.
Chad Marshall on the score sheet, as was Frankie Haydock, the skipper. Let's go downstairs and get some more thoughts. Brenda and Jim Brennan.
Well, Columbus was the best team in the regular season, the best team again today. And, you know, Jim, why wasn't New York able to create more offense, do you think, in that second half of play?
I don't think their midfielders controlled the game at all today. I think they were second to every ball. They couldn't get to every ball that they wanted to get to. Columbus, they put too much pressure on them. They didn't have enough penetrating balls, and I don't think they did enough overall to get a result today.
Juan Pablo Angel, uncharacteristically quiet in this match.
Yeah, he was. He was starved of the ball. Nothing was really coming into him, as you can tell in part of the game. He had to drop into midfield just to get a touch of possession. So you could see by his face he was very frustrated and things weren't going well for him today.
Okay, who would be your pick for MVP?
It's going to kill me to say it, but I've got to say Scalotto.
And it kills you to say it because?
Well, because I know with Toronto, and every time we play him, and our fans don't like him much, but today he was different class. He assisted all of the goals today scored by Columbus. He hit the crossbar with a little cheeky chip, and you know, it was rightly so deserved for him.
Well, when we come back, we will have more highlights and analysis from the 2008 MLS Cup. Here at the Home Depot Center, it was the Columbus Crew defeating the New York Red Bulls to win the 13th edition of that MLS Cup final.
CBC Sports is your destination for soccer in 2009. The snow may be flying, but CONCACAF Champions League is back in Montreal. In February, the Impact will be looking for a berth in the semifinals. Then in March, Toronto FC kicks off its third Major League Soccer season. The Reds hope to build on a year of improvement under head coach John Carver. When the heat of summer hits, so will FIFA's Confederation Cup, live from South Africa's site of the 2010 World Cup. Also from the African continent, Egypt will host the under-20 men. CBC's coverage of the beautiful game continues with the MLS playoffs in October and FIFA's U17 World Cup from Nigeria in November. CBC will have live coverage of all of these exciting events on our main network, our digital channel Bold, and online at cbcsports.ca.
My name's Chaz Wood. I'm chairman of the smallest football league in the world. Any additional coaching can only be beneficial.
Aim for the keeper.
This would certainly improve their game.
Anderson can go in the middle because he's late. Come back on, I've got him today.
Hopefully some of them can go on and make it into professional football.
There's something fresh in the air. Febreze candles burn slowly for up to 30 hours, infusing the air with scents that are simply irresistible. So irresistible, you just can't keep them to yourself. Febreze candles in 7 fresh scents. It's a breath of fresh air. Tuesday.
There are some at court who would like to see the Queen replaced. Henry's crimes against us are too profound to forgive. So I ask you, will you invade England?
The Tudors, Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
They come face to face with the people in the headlines.
He wasn't entirely truthful with you.
Ask the tough questions.
What did you have to hide at that point?
Finding the truth about the stories that matter to you. CBC News, The Fifth Estate, Wednesday at 9 on CBC.
The Point is a different kind of current affairs show. They're going to hear a lively, spirited discussion on the topic and the news of the day, what they're saying out on the street, what they're saying in cabs, what they're saying in buses. They're also going to hear something that they may not have heard before, a take, an opinion. It's about the conversation. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your opinions. We want everybody's ideas to come to the table. There will always be a moment where the unexpected can happen. If it's compelling, if it's interesting, it's going to be on the Point.
Here at the Home Depot Center, it was the Columbus Crew defeating the New York Red Bulls to take the 2008 MLS Cup. Now let's join Mitch Peacock, who's with Frankie Hayduke.
All right, with the captain of the MLS Cup champions, the Columbus Crew, Frankie Hayduke, is with us now after the 3-1 game in Los Angeles. Frankie, what does it feel like right now?
Oh, man, this is a dream come true. I mean, what a perfect ending. The boys battled hard. You know, the first half was, you know, I think they got the better of the half. We were lucky to get a counterattack goal, and then we made some adjustments at halftime, and I think it really helped us because we came out woken up a little bit, and you know, it's been a dream year. We don't want it to end. All the guys were saying before the game, we're like, God, we don't want this season to end, and it's just been a dream season. This just caps it off.
How do you explain the response to their equalizing goal?
Same way we've been doing all year, just coming back, not putting our heads down, and knowing that we were going to come back and score. We've been doing it all year. It wasn't a secret. Everyone knew we were fighting to the end, and it was, you know, once we got that second one, we knew it was coming again, and luckily I was able to put that third one away.
And what does this mean for the Columbus Crew after so many years of frustration?
Oh man, it's just, I mean, they're one of the first. They are the first soccer-specific stadium, so it's just great to get the hunt to championship because they deserve it. They've kept the soccer in America alive, and you know, to wait so long for it, I'm sure they're happy. We're happy. I'm stuttering. I just don't know even what to say right now. There's so many thoughts going through my head. I'm loving it, and thanks.
You're the captain of the champs. That's all you need to know. Thank you, my friend.
I want to go. Time to get the cup.
All right, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. That's Frankie Hayduke.
Thanks, Mitch. And while we wait for the trophy presentation, let's now go to Nigel and Jason with some of the highlights from today's game.
Brenda, thank you so much. Well, that second half, New York needed to make an early response, and they did just that. Richards playing the ball through, Wolonek first to react, And suddenly, 5 minutes into the second half, we're all tied up at 1 apiece. The perfect response for New York, but it didn't last.
Less than a minute later, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto plays the corner kick in, and Chad Marshall beats everyone to the ball, heading the ball in from 6 yards out past Danny Sapero in goal. The perfect response from the regular season champions. As Frankie Haydock said there, they've been doing it all year long, and it took less than a minute for them to get back in front once again.
Moreno, of course, had scored the first. Schelotto had everything except the goal in this final. That's as close as the Argentinian got. Rattled the woodwork with Sapero beaten, but the ball didn't land in the net.
But it was an MVP performance from Schelotto. Beautiful chip over the top, seeing the run of the skipper, Frankie Haydock, who's brave going in on Sapero without seeing where the keeper is. He sticks his head out, gets on the end of it, and flips the ball over the top of Sapero's outstretched arms. Great finish for Columbus, 3-1 victory. Down to Brenda.
Here at the Home Depot Center outside of Los Angeles, it was the Columbus Crew defeating the New York Red Bulls. We'll try to show you the trophy presentations before we go off the air.
Worry doll. Take away all worries.
Really? Do you have bigger ones?
Now, these are lovely. It's just that we have big worries.
Grande worries.
No.
Investments.
No,
Investments?
investmentitos?
No. Market fluctuations.
Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down like that.
How do you stop worrying about your investments? Protect them. BMO Life Stage Plus funds protect your initial investment and growth.
What's some of the most expensive water you can buy in the grocery store? This is. This detergent has very little cleaning ingredients. The rest is water. But with Tide, you get much more cleaning ingredients. More than twice as much. Tide. You pay for detergent, you get more detergent. That's why there's no clean like Tide Clean.
Lotto Quebec Celebration. The generous lottery that's been a perfect gift for your loved ones and yourself for 20 years now. This year you could win 30 Fords, 31 Mercedes-Benz, 40 trips, and lots of cash, including a grand prize of $5 million. A total of over $28 million in prizes. Go on, celebrate.
On Election Day, December 8th, I will express who I am, what I think, what I want. I will vote.
The revision of the list of electors is November 17th to 25th. Make sure you're properly registered.
Like what I've become.
We have so much to talk about.
That's my job in life. Do favors for women.
The Hour with George Stroumboulopoulos.
I haven't totally self-destructed yet.
Weeknights at 11 on CBC television.
Here at the Home Depot Center, it was the Columbus Crew defeating the New York Red Bulls to take the 2008 MLS Cup, and there is skipper Frankie Haydock hoisting the trophy. And it's been 12 long years for that franchise. Many had called them the model franchise in the MLS. And Jim, what was the difference for Columbus today in this match?
I think all over the pitch, they won their battles. They had their chances. They finished them. They got the goals that they deserved. And overall, they were better than New York today.
And your choice for the game or the match MVP, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, and he did get that award today.
Yeah, Scalotto definitely. He helped in all 3 goals. He came close to scoring himself all over the pitch. He was a leader. He penetrated great balls in behind and to other players' feet to give them chances to create goals. And I think all around he was fantastic.
Well, in fairness to New York, we should say that against all odds, they made it to this final. And when we say against all odds, we mean that because there were so many things that this franchise had to deal with, including the retirement of their captain, drug suspension by 2 of their players.
Yeah, they were against all odds there to get. They just squeaked into the playoffs, made it to the finals. I think after the game that we played them and we beat them, they turned things around defensively. They were organized, and they battled their way into the final. And it was unfortunate today they didn't get the win that they were hoping for.
Well, 5 teams who've won the regular season title have gone on to win the MLS Cup now, thanks to this win by Columbus. How difficult is it to win that season series and then to head on and continue winning in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's very hard. They battled so hard this season. They won the league, went all the way to the final, ended up winning, and you know, it just goes to show you the team that they have.
Well, thanks for this. In our next game, well, it's actually going to be coming your way in about an hour from now. Canada will be looking to rebound after a loss to Japan at the U20 Women's World Cup in Chile tonight. They face Congo, really a must-win game for them. Next week, we'll also have their match against the powerful Germans. Here at the Home Depot Center outside of Los Angeles, it was the Columbus Crew defeating the New York Red Bulls in the 13th annual MLS Cup. I'm Brenda Irving for Nigel Reed, Jason DeVos, Jim Brennan, and the rest of the crew. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye for now.